Hello everyone, thanks again to today's fourth video. So we're having a look at ENSO for today's fourth video. We're doing the final actually ENSO update because winter updates are starting from Sunday the 6th of September, and that means that we will be sort of combining the ENSO updates with the winter updates, because ENSO is always a very important part of the overall sort of descent into winter. So yeah, this is the final ENSO update of the year. The ENSO updates will return from January next year, but after this one, we combine the ENSO updates with winter updates, which begin on Sunday, the 6th of September. So for the final time for an ENSO update this year, I shall talk you through everything that's happening in the equatorial Pacific Ocean in terms of El Nino, La Niña, and all of that kind of thing. Just say it's been a very busy day at GavsWeatherVids today, so we started with the European Outlook, as was on a Friday, and also JMA Friday was released as well, and a 10 to 14 day update. So it's been a very busy day today. Hope you've been enjoying all of the videos. Make sure you are liking the videos and subscribing to the channel. It lets YouTube know that you are enjoying what we're doing. Right then, so here we go for the last time this year. This is how things look in terms of the cold and warm episodes by season chart from NCEP, PC and NOAA. So if we scroll down, we can see that this is depicting all of the El Nino and La Niña and ENSO neutral events through the decades, right way back to 1950s, when we first started reliably measuring ENSO. So of course we've got blue here, which is La Niña events, cold events in the equatorial Pacific Ocean, and the red numbers there are El Nino events, warm events in the equatorial Pacific Ocean. Remember, ENSO is basically the cyclical sort of warming and cooling of the equatorial Pacific Ocean. So it's almost like the Earth's thermostat at work, really, internal thermostat. When the thermostat is turned up, we get an El Nino event, and that releases heat out of the ocean, and that heat then gets distributed basically across the Earth via the oceans, via ocean currents. La Niña, but on the same flip, is like turning down the thermostat, bringing the temperature down and releasing out colder than average sea surface temperature numbers, or colder than average temperatures from the equatorial Pacific Ocean, and then that again gets distributed around the Earth via the oceans. So yes, in the middle of the 1970s, for example, we had a La Niña event going on. So from 1974 to 1976, all of these blue numbers just here. So yeah, we have a very long-lasting and at times really quite strong La Niña event going on through 74, through 75, and into the early part of 1976 as well. Conversely, though, El Nino going on here with these red numbers. For example, in 1982, 1983, that was a super Nino during the winter of 1982 and 1983. Now, you have to reach very specific criteria to get these events designated. So you've got to reach, your important number is 0.5. You've got to reach half a degree, and that's either above or below average. So for an El Nino, you've got to be either half a degree above average. For a La Niña, you've got to be half a degree below average or more. And you also have to do that over 5 tri-monthly periods as well. So sometimes you can sort of reach the threshold, half a degree below or above average threshold, for like 3 tri-monthly periods, but you might not do it for the 4th or the 5th tri-monthly period, and then you never get an event designated. But that, of course, doesn't mean that it's not sort of having an impact overall on the weather patterns. Right, so let's move down then, and we can see that very latest is that we're back to ENSO neutral, essentially. So we have the weakest El Nino on record during the winter of 2019-20. It's barely gets to the required threshold, just reaches that half a degree or more threshold for 3 tri-month period. The peak of the El Nino event, if you can call it that, was during January, February, March, when it peaked at 0.6 degrees above average, again just above that required threshold. And so that was before tri-month tri-month period, and we did it again for a 5th tri-month period for February, March, April. That just gets us to a designated El Nino, but it certainly is like the weakest El Nino ever recorded. After that, the next tri-month period takes us back to ENSO neutral. You see how the red colour goes from red to black in the next tri-month period, March, April, May. So we return to ENSO neutral then. The latest tri-monthly period for May, June, July is just here, and it's 0.2 of a degree below average. So going from a very weak El Nino to ENSO neutral, and then on to the cool side of ENSO neutral. We're expecting a La Niña to take place. We'll confirm that in a moment. So through these next tri-month periods for the remainder of this year, we're expecting these numbers to go, but we'll be placing the boxes that aren't yet there. We're expecting those numbers to go increasingly negative, and if we get 5 tri-monthly periods half a degree or more below average, then we'll see the numbers going blue. So by the end of the year, we may see some blue numbers turning up for La Niña. The last time we had a La Niña was 2017-18. So we had like two winters running were weak La Niña, 2016 2017, although the La Niña in that scenario was like late in 2016, actually sort of petered out by the time we got through to winter itself of 2016-2017, and they had a very late starting La Niña for 2017-2018. At the peak of that one goes down to minus 1.0, a degree below average of sea surface temperature anomaly. The last time we had, so that's a very weak La Niña. So last time we had like a proper sort of moderate to quite strong La Niña was 2010-2011. 2010-2011 has quite a significant La Niña event going on, with the peak of that one for those 2 tri-month periods there going down to minus 1.7, which is kind of moderate to borderline strong. Really, there was another La Niña for 2011-2012. That one was a much weaker affair. So the December to remember, interestingly, did coincide with quite a strongish La Niña. Generally, La Niñas have been quite hard to find since the turn of this decade, proper La Niñas anyway. So that's probably coinciding with moving into the warm phase of the PDO, the Pacific Decadal Oscillation. Right, let's see what those sea surface temperature anomalies are doing then. So currently, well, this is how things looked last month actually, where we did last month's ENSO update back in July. So this is from the 27th of July. So this blue area just here is the signature of La Niña, the cooling of the equatorial Pacific Ocean from Peru over there in the South America to Indonesia over here. So yes, had a little bit of a signature for La Niña last month, actually, so it's already beginning to develop. But look what's happened this month. So this is the latest, 24th of August. Clearly a much better defined signal for La Niña over the past month. So things are properly developed now. It's a proper La Niña signal that we have here from Peru towards Indonesia. It hasn't yet quite got to Indonesia actually, but you see how it's stretching out along that equatorial Pacific Ocean, and compared to last month, clearly that is a much clearer, a much more better defined cold signal. With those cold and average sea surface temperature is now stretching out right away across the equatorial Pacific Ocean. We also see its subsurface temperature anomaly wise as well. So that's like, this is like the surface sea surface temperature anomalies. These are like subsurface temperature. This is what's going on underneath the surface of the equatorial Pacific Ocean. So what you have to think about with this is that this is like the surface of the equatorial Pacific Ocean. That you find Peru just there, you'll find Indonesia over there. So Peru on the eastern side, and Indonesia on the western side. And these are the depths of the oceans, going all the way down eventually to 300 meters, very deep ocean. So this big blue area that we've got here now under the surface of the equatorial Pacific Ocean, these are colder than average subsurface temperature anomalies from pretty much the surface, or 50 meters, all the way down to like 150 to 200 meters. So we have a very clear colder than average, massive cold and average subsurface temperature anomalies. That's a big change on like what we saw last month. So if we go back to sort of middle of July, so again, very little sign of La Nina subsurface wise, but it did have some cold average subsurface temperature just there, like from the surface to around 100 meters, but nothing really through this central part of the equatorial Pacific Ocean at depth. But things have been developing over the past few weeks, and particularly in the last couple of weeks. Clearly, we now have a very clear signal for La Nina, for a cold event, both on the surface and subsurface temperature anomaly wise. Southern Oscillation Index is an index that's reflecting the atmospheric state in the South Pacific. So it's measuring air pressure between Darwin and Tahiti. When the SOI is in its negative phase, then the atmospheric setup will be reflective of El Nino. When the SOI is in its positive phase, the atmospheric setup will be reflective of La Nina. To get these events really going and spiraling, you have to have the ocean coupling up with the atmosphere. So you have to have the cold and average sea and subsurface temperatures, but has to be combined as well with an atmospheric setup that is conducive to pulling up those, raising up those colder than average anomalies. So we can see that the reason that we've seen this cooling of the Pacific Ocean and move towards La Nina over the past month is that we have had quite significant positivity of the SOI. For example, the 19th of August coming out at plus 28.46, 20th of August comes out at plus 26.30, 21st of August comes out plus 23.79. That is a strong signal for La Nina. Now, the past couple of days, 25th, 26th of August, up to when I'm recording the video, has actually gone a little bit negative, a little bit more towards the El Nino side. But the atmospheric state in the South Pacific is shifting into La Nina territory. We see this from our 30-day SOI average, which is this red line just here. That's lifting upwards, albeit last couple of days has seen a bit of a drop. But generally, that's lifting up, and also the 90-day average, which moves far less, because of course it's 90-day average rather than a 30-day average. That moves far less, but you can see that is gradually lifting upwards as well. Everything we're looking at is telling us we are going into, or we are in, a La Nina, and we will continue to see this La Nina developing through the remainder of the year. CFSV2 has been consistently forecasting this La Nina since January. It's been a tremendous forecast from the CFS. It's been absolutely fantastic forecast from CFSV2. We do criticise the CFS a lot in the weather community. The CFS has not got a particularly good reputation, but on this particular forecast, the CFS has been forecasting this La Nina to develop through this summer since January. It has never wavered on it. It's never backtracked and sort of flipped and flopped. It has always been going for this La Nina since January. So I can't remember a more consistent forecast from the CFS V2 or any model really. So yes, hats off to the CFS V2, and that's something I never thought I would hear myself saying. But you can see that where we are right now, so we're in August, we're now at or just under that half a degree or more below average temperature, and none of that's all important monthly dates in month periods on the bottom of the chart, of course. So the black dashed line is your ensemble mean. See how that's dipping down to around 1.5 degrees below average at the peak of this event sometime around November, probably, or into early December. These events normally peak around Christmas, be they El Nino or La Nina. So yeah, that's like a week to getting towards borderline moderate La Nina territory. If we did go down to 1.5 degrees below average, that would be the strongest La Nina that we've had since 2010, 2011. It's getting quite close to that, getting quite close to the strongest La Nina since 2010, 2011. Still just about weak La Nina, but almost getting towards moderate. CANSIPS, again, been quite consistently forecasting this. So again, this is a sea surface temperature anomaly forecast for the oceans. That's the area we're specifically interested in. This is for August. Look how it developed things in September. So again, it's seeing this strengthening of the La Nina signal through the autumn, as you expect. That's October, that's November, getting stronger and stronger as we're going along, becoming sort of central and western based with time as well, rather than eastern based. And as we get through to December, that's kind of like the peak of it, peak of the La Nina event. That's a proper La Nina event, week 2, probably moderate La Nina being forecast then, continuing into the early part of next year before then gradually easing away slipping away through the spring into the summer of 2021. ECMWF again forecasting a weak La Nina. So this one ECM has always been less sure about this La Nina compared to like CFSV2. Again, we've got our temperature anomalies on the side, dates are on the bottom in monthly periods. So that's sort of where we are now. Again, let's change the colour actually. Let's change the colour. So where we are now is sort of on the cusp of either ENSO neutral to just into La Nina territory. ECMWF just dip that down a little bit more. So it's definitely more towards a weak La Nina side of things though compared to CFSV2 or CANSIPS. So the ECMWF ensemble plume looks like it's going for a weak La Nina as we go through this autumn. I think it's a little bit too warm though, that actually, for where we are right now, to be honest. So where we are right now with the with those seaside temperatures, I would have thought is more around here, really. So I think the ECM is like next month we'll see the ECM shifting quite a bit on that forecast and going a bit colder. Jams Tech also has had to be dragged kicking and screaming to this La Nina event, but it is now going for it. So again, temperatures on the side, dates are on the bottom. So that's like 0.5 degree below average. It's 1 degree below average. You can see the ensemble mean, which is this red line, is consistently from pretty much now onwards around 1 degree below average through to the end of the year. They're starting to lift up back into ENSO neutral through the spring of 2021. This model has had to be dragged kicking and screaming to this La Nina event, unlike CFSB2. So for example, that's how it was looking back in May, just going for like an ENSO neutral event. That's how it's looking in June. So June is when it shifted towards weak La Nina territory, just going into weak La Nina territory. That's July. Again, just a very, very weak La Nina, and that's August. You see how it's gradually developed this over time, really, but it has had to be dragged to it, unlike the CFSV2, which was going for this consistently since January. And then we've finally got the UK Met Office GWV 5 model. That is going for quite a strong La Nina event as well. So this goes like moderate to perhaps borderline strong for September, October, November trimark period, with those deep blue colours there on the temperature scale. That's kind of like going to around 1.5 to 2 degrees below average, which is moderate to kind of strong La Nina territory, really. So the UK Met is very bullish about a big La Nina event. That will be the biggest La Nina event certainly since 2010-11. Possibly that will be the biggest La Nina event since maybe 98, 99 or 99, 2000. You'd probably have to go a very long way back to find a La Nina event quite as strong as that from the UK Met. That could be going a bit too strong. I think that could be overdoing it. I would go with the CFS, because CFS has been so consistent on this. So I would say weak to probably borderline moderate La Nina, you know, kind of like 1 to 1.5 degrees below average, the strongest event since 2010, 2011, but not really ramping it up into a really big La Nina event like the UK Met is doing there. So I would go more of a CFSV2, which would be very, very consistent. And of course, this is going to be an important factor within the winter updates, because ENSO is primarily a driver for teleconnection, but drives the climate during the winter period as it reaches its peak around Christmas, be it El Nino or La Nina. So this will form a very important part of winter updates, and through reanalysis and things like that, we will attempt to verify and confirm what the impacts of a weak to possibly moderate La Nina could have on our winter weather in Northern Europe. So all of that is still to come, and that is the reason this has been the final ENSO update of the year, because from next month we start winter updates on the 6th of September, and so we will sort of combine both ENSO updates with winter updates. And so we have reached the end of this year's ENSO update. So I'll be back in January. So I'll be back in January 2021. But for now, this is the final ENSO update of the year. And we'll be looking at ENSO every single week from the 6th of September right way through to the end of November. We'll be looking at ENSO during the next 3 months every week in our winter updates. So if you enjoyed this this season of ENSO updates, then please let us know in the comments what you think. Don't forget to give us a thumbs up on the video and make sure you subscribe to the channel. And yes, winter updates begin just just over a week's time on Sunday, the 6th of September. I think it'll be a very, very interesting season of winter updates. Okay, so for this ENSO update and for all of the ENSO updates this year, that's all for now, and thanks for watching.